The true Mandalorians have found a new home on the sixth planet of the Hoth system. An abandoned pirate base is suitable enough to get the group back on their feet. But now, the Weequay pirates they captured, led by Hondo Ohnaka, may be useful to them. They are low in numbers, low in provisions, and the pirates may be able to help with all of it. In the meantime, Tor Vizsla and his Death Watch have the high ground. They have put a dent in Jester's sense of security and have caused him to question how safe they are at any moment, making him paranoid. But Tor has something up his sleeve. Today, on Star Wars Fanatic. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give the video a thumbs up and share the video as well. Tor Vizsla sits holding the hilt of his darksaber. He thinks to himself how this weapon is a show of strength and power, leadership. Mandalore's mask was at his side. Both relics are of great Mandalorian leaders, but he favored the darksaber. It was created by his ancestor, Tar Vizsla, the only Mandalorian to be accepted into the Jedi ranks. To him, the mask seemed more ornate. It was ancient and was more like a decoration than a show of power. Yet, he used it in past battles. But this blade was power. If an opponent was hit in the right spot between armor plates, it could sever a limb, even rend a head from the owner's shoulders. And there were many who fell victim to this black blade with a white glow. Tor and his men had no qualms with hiding in plain sight. They knew Jaster Muriel and his protege didn't have the means to fight them on their own turf. Their main base of operations was on Concordia. The new Mandalorians were pacifists and dared not engage these hardened warriors in battle, but Tor planned to take them down as soon as Jaster was dealt with. Death Watch had a second base as well. The lower levels of Coruscant were so vast and intricate that hiding and fighting would prove easy, and unlucky for invaders. Tor Vizsla proved to be a great leader to his men, and they would follow him anywhere. He hears footsteps outside his quarters. "Come in, Ursa. Why do you always lurk around unannounced?" The 14-year-old responds, "I'm sorry, sir. I don't mean to startle you." Tor laughs. "Child, you could not startle me. What can I do for you?" Ursa hesitates. "Sir, my brother. He was murdered by Jaster Muriel and his men." Tor gets a serious look. "Yes, child, I'm sorry for your loss. He was a great soldier, just as your father was before him." Ursa persists. "I want revenge. Can we finish this?" Tor shows his compassion on his face. "Ursa, your brother did exactly what we asked of him. He knew the risks. You will get your revenge for your brother. We will all get revenge for those we have loved and lost." Ursa drops her head. "Yes, sir. I don't mean to question your methods." She turns to leave Tor's quarters, but is stopped by a young man entering. "Uncle," he shouts, "we had them in a position that we could destroy them on Nevarro. Why didn't we finish this then?" Tor stands abruptly and faces the young Mandalorian with visible anger. "Boy, being my heir does not give you any kind of authority over me. You have crossed the line on many occasions. I let it slide before, but not this time. You will take orders as they are given without question." The young man sunk into his helmetless armor. "Uncle, I didn't mean any..." Tor cut him off. "Disrespect? You have been nothing but disrespectful to me and the soldiers of Death Watch. One more outburst and you will be taking orders from young Ursa Wren here. At least she knows how to address me properly." Tor continues. "There seems to be some confusion as to why we left Nevarro the way we did. Gather the troops and meet me in the common area. And Pre, next time you'll lose your command. Do you understand?" Pre Vizsla looks at his uncle with shame. "Yes, sir. My apologies." After the two left, Tor sat again. He held the mask in one hand and the darksaber in the other. The mask was going to be a gift to his nephew, Pre Vizsla, but now he grabbed the mask firmly and smashed it repeatedly on the metal table in front of him, using all his strength over and over until the Beskar mask was dented and cracked. He then stood from his seat and tossed the mask into a corner. He spoke out loud. "He will get leadership when I am gone, unless someone kills him for it." Back on Hoth, Django retrieves the pirate leader Hondo Ohnaka from his cell. He and Jaster had been debating how to use these 20 or so pirates to their advantage. As Django brought Hondo to the meeting area, he uncuffed him and escorted him to his seat. The three of them sat in silence for a moment, looking each other over, trying to read one another. Hondo was smiling, not a large smile, but enough that gave Django the impression that this wasn't his first negotiation of this sort. So Django spoke up. "You will be in our service for exchange of your men's and your freedom from the holding cell. You will remain here unless escorted." Hondo lost his smile. "I expect to be compensated for my services." Django responded as he stood to show a position of authority over the pirate. "Your compensation is your life." Hondo chuckled. "Haha, my friend, that is a fair payment, but I have lost men in your little attack on us." Django slammed his fist to the table. "You attacked us. You tried to board our ships. You are lucky you still have men." Hondo sat calmly. "My friend, you entered our space with warships. Now you control our base. You attacked us. We tried to defend ourselves. I expect financial compensation for the use of my base and the loss of my men." It was obvious this was not going to be an easy partnership. Pirates only understood treasure and payment. The problem was, the true Mandalorians had little currency of any kind. Since they went into hiding, they could only do small jobs for the people of Navarro, and most of that was in exchange for food or provisions. But if the war ended and the group was victorious, they would have access to Mandalore's coffers and could pay these pirates what the Mandalorians felt was adequate. So, Django spoke up. "When we defeat Death Watch and retake our home, we will compensate you for your losses." Hondo leaned forward. "And our services?" Django leaned forward to meet his gaze. "Your lives in exchange for your services. And if you double-cross us, you forfeit your lives." Hondo smiled again, slightly. "My friends, it seems we have a deal. This will be a mutually beneficial relationship, especially for me." He could hear his men yelling from the cell. "Oh yes, and beneficial for my men too." Back on Concordia, Pre Vizsla approached Tor Vizsla. "Everyone is here, sir." Tor raised an eyebrow to acknowledge Pre's respect. "Very good." He stood in the middle of the semicircle they had formed. "It has come to my attention that some of you don't agree with my methods, especially those of our last invasion of Jaster Muriel and his broken Mandalorians. I believe it was obvious what we had accomplished. Had we fought them on their own ground, the natives of the planet may have come to their aid. True, we are better warriors than them, but our 53 warriors would quickly be overwhelmed by thousands of natives. Our mission was not a failure, though. What we have accomplished is to show Jaster and his men that they are not safe anywhere." Tor continued, "We have also shown that any populated planet that they flee to is also not safe. This act will make them run to an unpopulated planet, where we will have the number advantage for our next attack." He saw the group relax and start chattering among themselves, his nephew being the most astonished at the brilliance of this plan. "With all due respect, Uncle, why didn't you let us in on that?" Tor turned to Pre Vizsla. "Because everyone acted their part. All of you did your job. Had any of you known the plan, it could have hurt the mission. Another facet of this was to confuse Jaster's heir, Jango Fett." Tor was interrupted as one female charged forward. "Jango Fett!" Tor felt the confusion and anger from the only foundling he had ever taken in, Arla. Arla was told by Tor's men that Jaster was not one to take prisoners, nor foundlings, and that Jango was killed with his mother and father on the farm. "You told me he was killed by the traitors." Tor stood strong. "Arla, I will warn you of your tone. And what I said was he was most likely killed by Jaster Muriel. I gained the intel from Kylo Ren that Jaster's heir was called Jango Fett just before we went into hyperspace on that mission. It's now apparent that Jaster did take him in, but has brainwashed him into believing in their cause." Arla fell to her knees and began to weep. Ursa Wren rushed over to comfort her and help her gain her composure. All Arla could think was she was fighting against her brother this whole time. Confusion set in. How could this happen? How did she not know? How could she continue knowing she is fighting her brother? Tor approached the two women. Child, I know this is a lot to take in, but your brother is not the same boy you knew as a child. He is only Jango Fett by name now. Jaster Moreel has twisted him into a monster, and I'm almost certain it was Jango that killed Ursa Wren's brother, Kyra. Arla stood to her feet. How would you know this? Tor approached closer. Just before we lost communication with Kyra, he said he had an arrangement with Jaster's heir. They were to convene that evening. That was the last I heard from him. Arla became enraged. She was older than Ursa, but Ursa Wren and her brother had become more like siblings to Arla Fett. She still didn't know if she could fight her brother in battle, though. But Kyra was always there for her, and she wanted vengeance for his death, since she and Ursa heard of it. When Tor returned to his quarters from the gathering, he locked the door and spoke, "Come out." Then, from a hidden room stepped Rax Lark. "I have done what you've asked. I relayed positions to you and took care of the Wren boy. When will I be permitted to join your ranks?" Tor gave a half smile. "You've done well. Everything worked according to plan, and now even Ursa Wren and Arla Fett will want to destroy Jaster and Jango. But there is a problem. Our group sees you as a traitor." Rax looked bewildered. "They didn't know I was planted?" Tor just smiled cordially. "I did not tell them." He then ignited the dark saber and swiped it clean through Rax's neck. Rax's head fell to the ground like a scarif coconut. His body then collapsed. Tor smiled. This weapon is complete power and authority. Well, that concludes my part 5 of my fan fiction of Jango Fett. This time I gave another side of the war. It seemed more in line with Star Wars to show the other side from time to time, as they did in the original trilogy, with cuts going to Darth Vader, Grand Moff Tarkin, and the board members on the Death Star. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. This is so much fun to create, and all of you have been tremendous help with it. Now, if we could get the attention of Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau, I know I joke about that, but it probably won't be happening. But wouldn't it be something if it did? I wouldn't even care if they stole this from me and made it better. Anyway, I can dream. And so everyone knows, I do a live stream every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. and every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, also in the U.S.
We would be honored if you would join us.
And at this time, I would like to give a big shout out to channel members that do so much to help improve this channel. LFC and Star Wars Nut, Commander Colt, Emmy Mark, Mike Hepker, Don Clatterman, Allison, Alyssa Smith, Zlatan Leo, Helen Waldeck, and Papa Mike. Thank you all for everything. All proceeds from channel memberships go back into the channel to make it bigger and better. And if you are new to the channel or haven't taken the creed yet, go on and hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Currently, about 43% of you watching the channel are not yet subscribed. You're watching, you might as well go ahead and hit it. Also, go on and hit the like button and share the video to help my channel grow a little more each day. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.